Good morning. It is a new week, somewhat early Monday morning. A little slow this morning. My son is typically at school, but it's now like I don't know, stage a week or something where they have like their internship stuff, and he's got that for like 3 weeks or so, or maybe 4. So I've been getting up, or the plan is I'm going to be getting up and making sure that he gets breakfast and everything, because he's got a real bad habit of skipping that if he's not reminded, or something's not available. So took care of that, and then I got sidetracked with some other things, so didn't start as early as I had planned to, but we're here. So let me get my tweet out, and then we can settle down to business. One thing I do want to mention is, for those of you that know me, I have been running for many months now a couple of threads in the housing subforum on the official forums, entitled something along the lines of Amazing Builders of Jabity U, and I had one for Exiles and one for Dominion. And basically what it is, it started out kind of just as my own kind of reference. I love to visit homes and check out what other people are doing, not only to see what they're up to, but to kind of inspire me to try new things with my own builds. And later that went to sharing it with my guildies, and then eventually that spread to me sharing it with the entire WildStar community. And for many months now, I've been regularly updating the list. Basically what it is it was a list of public homes that had some interesting builds or partial builds, or maybe a custom car was all that was on the plot, but it was interesting to see how they put it together, and it might inspire someone else to figure out how to make one for themselves or something similar. And so I've been promoting these houses for many, many months. And as it happens, another individual by the name of Cheetos Mascot TM, I'm just going to call him Cheetos, has developed or set up I guess it's a Google spreadsheet kind of thing, where you can submit your home, provide screenshot, even a whole gallery of shots if you want, give a very short description of what it is. So, if it's a particular theme or there's a specific eye-catching feature there, you can mention that, or if it's a jumping puzzle, that kind of stuff. Anyway, they've got this spreadsheet set up. I think it has potential to really be way more useful than my threads, because the threads was basically just a list. And while a list is good, screenshots and a little bit of description is better. But for me, running it by myself, it was pretty difficult to do. The spreadsheet relies more on people updating it themselves. That said, to help kind of facilitate the integration or whatever of this new system to be promoted as the main tool for that kind of thing, I've gone ahead and retired my own threads. And basically, I just spent the entire weekend submitting all of the homes from those lists, both Exiles and Dominions. I think it ended up being somewhere north of 370 homes altogether. That's how many homes I visited over the weekend. So I'm pretty exhausted from that, but I think it was worth it, because at least now there's a good solid start of this database, that people will be able to take a look and quickly see, is that a house I'd like to look, or is that the kind of theme I'm looking for, that kind of stuff, without having to always just kind of hunt and guess. I did do this on behalf of all of the plot owners. I'm sure there were some that were probably willing to submit their own. And it's not that I think I could do a better job or anything. I just wanted to really just quickly get them in the system as fast as possible so that, the site has a good start. I won't be maintaining it in any way. As I come across ones that maybe aren't on the list that I feel should be, I will probably submit them if they aren't already in it. Um, but beyond that, I'm not going to be checking to see if themes change um, or anything like that. So I'm leaving that in the hands of the site manager and uh, the actual owners themselves. Now, I will say that I did my best to capture either the plot overall or features that I thought were eye-catching. That was very difficult to do because, as it turns out, it seems a good many house builders prefer dark lighting. And let me tell you, that is difficult to screenshot when you can barely see any details and stuff, unless I was to manipulate my, actual screen darkness and everything. It was very tricky to take pictures. So there are some that I wish could have been better, but just due to the nature of how they were built, and like caves, a lot of the caves were kind of tough to do because naturally you're inside and you're in these tight, confined tunnels and things. And so I just did my best to find something, some area or room of the plot that had a little bit of personality. And hopefully, as people scan through them and are looking for homes that they might want to visit, these pictures will kind of pique their interest and their curiosity, and it will encourage them to go and check it out for themselves. Um, but that said, if you don't like the screenshot or you want to add more, there is that option. So anyway, that's just an announcement that those particular threads, I've even removed them off of the Twitch channel page resources section that I have. I've just listed Cheeto's thread, or the actual spreadsheet, I think. Um, it also kind of off the end links back to the actual submit page for if you want to submit your home. I will say that I found a lot of homes had been set to private since they were listed, and I came across the error where it says like player X does not exist. I got that a lot. Hey Pui, glad you could join us. So I got that a lot, and that meant that there was probably a good many homes that weren't included. That was through no effort of mine. I mean, I tried, but if you can't access the house, there's just no way to get in. Um, it could mean that maybe the person deleted the character, but it also could mean that it's just one of that glitchy bug that sometimes pops up, and maybe a day or two from now, that plot will be accessible again. It's a very strange bug, and I know it's a bug. It's not a reliable way to say that, well, that plot doesn't exist anymore, because I can have a guildmate standing right next to me. I will try to visit their plot, and it still won't let me in for whatever reason. I don't know what causes that kind of a glitch or whatever, but it's an annoying one, and that was one of the reasons why I hesitated removing people from, their homes from my original list, because it didn't necessarily mean that it was gone. It's just temporarily forked out or whatever. Um, so yeah, there were quite a few homes that I didn't get to add that were on the original list that didn't get moved over to the new database. If your home is one of those, if you feel like your home deserves to be on that new database, check it out. If it's not listed already, my apologies, but you're welcome to submit it yourself. The little submission page is really easy. You just mark your region, your faction. You give the plot name that you have it in game, like Greenleaf Acres, and then the character name, the full character name, and a very short description, you know, like if it's a jumping puzzle, a maze, maybe you run a bar or something on your plot, you know, just put a bar. If it's RP, that would be a great opportunity to denote that, you know, say RP friendly or whatever. Um, or if you don't mind your plot being used as such, that would be a good opportunity for that. If it's a guild house, that kind of stuff. And then you have the opportunity to set up a screenshot. Now, I don't know how it works for multiple shots or if you want to submit a gallery. I do know that it says it needs to be specifically Imgur images. So, you know, if you don't have an Imgur account, it might be a good idea to strike one of those up if you plan on submitting some shots. But for what I did over the weekend, it was just a screenshot, just one for each plot. And like I said, I tried to catch as many as I could. It was over 370 plots, so I've got them all running through my head. They just kind of melded all together after a few hours. But I did. I spent a lot of time. Sometimes I spend, you know, 10 or so minutes on a plot looking for that, you know, nice shot or whatever. So yeah. Just wanted to mention that. So my old Amazing Builder threads are officially retired, and we're going to focus our attention on Cheetos's spreadsheet tool. It is now linked, and that's where I would recommend people to go if they want to check out specific homes of a particular theme or whatever. It also gives people an opportunity to kind of give a little feedback by way of rating the homes. But I would say take those ratings with a grain of salt. Don't feel upset if you're unrated or if you have a lesser rating than someone else that you think you built better in comparison. You know, I really am not a big fan of the rating stuff, but folks seem to really crave it, so this person set that up. But just take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it personally if yours isn't rated really high or anything. So yeah. We're back on my spring/Easter plot. The event that this has been built for is this coming weekend. So I've got a few more days to add any last minute details that I think might be helpful. So I thought we'd do some extra gardening. I figured it would be a good opportunity to kind of experiment or at least kind of showcase the different ways that you can make little potted plant flower bed thingies. You can see I kind of explained how these were done using the snowy hills upside down and just giving me some additional layers of ground so that I can make this tiered garden type of thing. But sometimes you don't want it to match the ground. So for instance, like in the garden over here, we use the bottoms of those dividers. If I was to pull this up, you'd see that it's actually giant dividers, and I'm just using the legs, the bottom of the legs, for the dirt. But you know, the dividers, I think some of them are crafted, some are I don't know where they come from, but sometimes you don't want a square shape, you want a round shape, that kind of thing. So we're going to look at some different ideas of items that can be used as dirt, and then we're going to settle on one or two and start adding in some extra little flower beddy type things. So typically when you're talking dirt, you automatically think brown, but you can't just go with any brown. You know, sometimes it's texture that you're looking for, like this. If you got this, you might not like that streaky, marbly look. It could be used as dirt, but it doesn't quite, uh, maybe it doesn't quite work for you. Plus the fact that these come in certain shapes. You can get the straight one, but maybe the straight one, the bits don't line up exactly or something. And, you know, it just depends on your need. But one of the favorites is, of course, just using the Blue Pod planter. Well, I think that went to crate. On. I'll just ignore that thing. Let me try that again. Sometimes that's that thing where half the time it creates and half the time it doesn't. It's annoying. Okay, so we have the planter here, and it's already got an assortment of plants. It has a little bit of dirt and comes in a frame. Maybe you don't want the frame showing. Thanks, Boyd, for confirming. One of the easiest ways is just to sink it down far enough where it's just the dirt showing. And there you have a little ready-made flower bed. It's very simple, easy. I've used it a lot in some of my earlier builds when I just wanted a quick little bit of a flower bed gardening around the house. I wanted to trim it up. I've used it in other places for other things, but that is a quick way of doing it. The only drawback is, of course, you get the same flower arrangement over and over and over. The only option you have when it comes to that is to rotate it the one way, and then the arrangement looks a little bit different. And if you alternate it, it kind of helps keep it a little, you know, not totally the same stuff. Another thing folks like to do is they will just add some extra flowers in here. Like right here is a good spot. You know, there's a little bit of dirt showing, a little bit too much compared to where everything else. You could add something else here. Maybe some of the uh, the violet ones. Let's see if I can find some. Whoops, I just closed that up, didn't I? The star flowers. There we go. See, now it says place it instead of create it. So you could add some extra star flowers in here. Just make sure, you know, everything is straight up and down there. And, you know, to kind of make sure that it goes along with sort of the symmetry, you'd want to add one to the other group as well. You don't have to, but it helps to kind of keep it so that the colors are all the same. But that kind of makes it your own as you build up more. And I like that these are the blue, and so I'm probably going to use this bit, but I wanted to show how quick and easy that is. Another method is by using the Draken, I think it's the wall. You can use the floor one. That's if you're wanting to go more with kind of like the rock pebbles, like if you're wanting, oh, you know, like desert plants, cactuses and stuff are good on that. But the pebble little bits like orchids and things, they have like more of a kind of a chunky. They don't actually use dirt. They use like stones and moss bits and things like that. That would be good for that. You know, using like a dome piece for a round if you need a round kind of stony pot, and then the square ones for an actual, you know, area. Like say you're doing it for a cityscape or something. But I think the Draken wall is probably one of the, I wouldn't say most used, but it's pretty close, I think. I see it used a lot. And it's because of the coloring. it is problematic because of the end. But if you can find clever ways of disguising that, like or incorporate it into your build, like say you want to make a little window here, like say we're going to make some little hanging pot thingies for this. We'll try that. Wow, that just like really made that big. Well, for crying out loud, I just keep turning to the wrong stuff. Hey, Maddie, good morning. Glad you could join us. So how were your guys this weekend? Hope not too bad. So we're just gonna make some like little flower tray kind of thingies. Easy crate panel turned upside down. Let me see what you're talking about there. I don't know if I have that. I'd have to, I guess, craft one. But Mary says easy crank panel turned upside down kind of works as well for dirt. Well, welcome to the club, boy. There's no shame in that. Okay, so we could like use a crate or something for the base. You could get fancy and use other things. I'm just gonna see if I can quickly. Oh, that like really shrunk that up, didn't it? Probably be better to use like an item that's a little smoother. But I'm mostly just looking for something to go as a trim here. Since my box is already kind of crooked, I don't think it'll matter too much if I tilt it a little bit. See how the box is all warped and stuff? That's just... that might be too much. Well, wait a minute. Is it easy crank like hyphened? Sometimes the cert... let me see. Let me say crank instead of easy. Panel. There's the oscillating one. Looks like it might be a metal bottom. And then there's the retractable arm. Let me check. But you're right, it could be named something else now. I'm real bad about sticking with the old names, and I confuse myself half the time. Let's see, electronics, where is that? Is it any of those? Lever switch, retractable arm. It's probably one of these, I guess. Is it that one? I will see. Maybe. Kind of a light dirt. You know, again, that depends on the kind of dirt you want. If you really want it dark and rich and wet looking, it's just like the whoops, didn't mean to. There's also the one that looks like candy to me, the barnacle weed. That's kind of got like wavy marks in it. I think that would be really good for like a swampy, muddy look if you're going for that. Okay, I'm gonna bring this over so it kind of matches. This flower bed is so crooked. Look at that. Poor little thing. So there's a little makeshift crooked as ever uh, flower bed thingy, box, whatever you call it. But a lot of folks like the Draken walls because of that marbly look. It's got a lot of browns and grays and everything, and it just looks like good soil. Um, as suggested, this one for the retractable arm, the dirt is kind of a light color. Good for if you want some sand. Got a little bit of texture, some light and dark and bits on it, so that would work good. Some of the books could probably work. Get out of the electronics there. Like the brown ones. The only thing you'd have to contend with is maybe the edges. This one's probably one of the better ones because it doesn't really have a really big spine on it. But you could probably easily cover that up with stones or something. Um, oh, no worries. I don't know why the chat's really bogged down, but another one, of course, is the sandbags. I've seen people use these as hills and mountain features, even kind of different kinds of stones. Um, I think it was Dedla that used it as a really huge little field for the horses. You just have to find that perfect little bit. Oops. You know, I've seen them used as like freshly dug graves and that kind of thing. So that's some different dirt. Another one, a favorite, is the bowl. I call this the turtle shell bit because that's what it reminds me of. One's a nice little mound of dirt. Uh, I've seen folks use some of the hugels as a little bit of dirt, but that's going a little bit more onto the green side. Usually you want to go for lots of browns for the dirt. Okay, Maddie's saying this one here is really good for flower beds and such. I guess it would depend on where you're using it though, as to whether or not, you know, for a raised flower bed or like one hanging off a window, that might not be ideal with all this other stuff sticking out. I think something like the books would probably work better for that kind of thing. I mean, you can see how clunky this looks. I don't think anybody would want that hanging off of their windows, but you know, we do have the windows that come with the attached flower bed trays and stuff, but you know, doesn't always work for everybody. I know that you can use the rain gutters. Uh, much like we use them for the roofing over there, but I've seen a lot of people use them for flower bed tray pot thingies, using the sandbags. In fact, I think I actually use one like this somewhere on one of my alts plots or something. Move this down just a little bit, because it's almost ideal because it's got the little hooky end thingies that you can use, so that it looks like it's, purposefully made for that. And then you can just fill it in. Probably sandbags would work well. The books maybe, depending on, I think the sandbags will work best in this situation. You just have to be careful about things that might stick out. You're going to have to use the sizing and stuff, and just watch what's poking out the bottom. What I'm looking at is I don't necessarily like it being like a little hill. I want it to be a little bit more flat than it was. The only thing. And the fact that I don't like it being smushed up to the side there. Something like that, and then you would just replicate, rotate, try and hide, the bits that you don't want showing, that kind of stuff. Granted, your dirt's not going to have to be perfect, because you're going to be filling it with plants in it and stuff anyway. Of course, if you want the dirt to be where it looks like it's getting ready to be planted, then yeah, you might want to turn it this way. That looks actually better, I think. Try that again. So see how I'm alternating that to get a little different. Make sure it looks not the same every time. And then one more. There you go. So now you have a little flower bed ready for planting. You could get away with maybe even saying that that's little bundles of hay for like a feeding trough or something rather than dirt. Really just depends on how you're using it, I guess. Let's see. Dirt. Another favorite. Trying to think of some more round ones. Of course, there's the portable planter, which I don't have an extra one here, but it's the round. It's like a bright blue with like little metal bits, and in the middle is like a little pile of dirt. That one's a real big favorite. It's just with the little knobby ends on either side. It's a little clunky if you're wanting to like set it inside some kind of a dish. It's the ones I use for the chair on my main spot, the new couch seating thing for the mall. Um, it's just depends on how you use it and where it fits okay. But you can use it as the actual standalone pot, or you can just sink it down into the ground and have like, I've seen some people using them in like a city, lining. You know how you have the little median of trees or something, or the ones along the sidewalk, and they've got like those inset little grounds that like planting the tree in the cement, and they've got that little spot of dirt, and that's what they did. And then they'll add flowers and stuff around it to kind of make it, pretty. Kind of something like I did with my uh, putt-putt park, photo putt park. There was a couple of like palm trees in the front that were kind of situated like that. Um, like I said, the Draken fences might be okay. Just depends on what you're using it for. Um, the some other ones, the grain sacks would probably work, although they're a bit lighter. But again, it depends on the kind of dirt you're wanting. Um, this is really pretty light, more of a gray even. But that might be what you're looking for. If you're looking for garden, like if it's been tilled or something, these might work since it's got that little raised bit, and then you could have like a lowered bit, and then have these little raised bits of dirt to make it look like little mounds ready for planting kind of thing. And maybe you're a potato farmer, I don't know. So that could work. Like I said, any of the books would probably be good for squares. There's not a whole lot of circles. The only one that comes to mind is the barnacle weed, and it's really not even round. It's just kind of, I mean, it's round, but it's misshapen. To me, it looks like chocolate. I swear, it's the candy decor. But you could use it maybe as some ground surface. Maybe you don't want the lines, but if you enlarge it big enough and then surround it off, then you have this nice, smooth, chocolatey dirt. I don't know, something like that. Um, Probably some of, there's probably other things you could use. I know when I looked for dirt surfaces for the garden, I tried a number of things, including even the bottoms of like poles, like the flag poles or banner stuff. And interestingly, a lot of them aren't perfectly flat on the bottom, or they are, but they're not round. Because at first I wanted to try a round garden, and was going to make some kind of fancy, goofy design with it, but I ended up just chickening out and going with the square version. But a lot of the pole, you think the pole is round, but no, when you turn it upside down and enlarge it, they're actually little squares or weird shaped, you know, rectangles or something. And a few actually have points so that they're not flat, which is also kind of weird. But like the broom, I mean, not the broom, the mop, that's a kind of a pointed end. It's kind of hard to see there, but it's not a perfectly flat. It's a little bit rounded, and it's kind of whitish. It almost would work if you enlarged it up with if we didn't have a lot of snowy rocks. I bet you it could almost be used as like a snowy bit of mountain. But see how pointed that is? It's just like a little funny pyramid. Strange thing. I like the textures and stuff, but just the shape of it is a little off. I don't know if there's any containers that you could use. I guess I need to look in the container section. The sacks probably would work all right for some type of dirt. The vent gas tank is more a little grayish black, so that probably wouldn't work well. But Cardboard boxes, interestingly enough, could be a nice dirt. I'll show you that here in a second. This one, I think mostly because of the texture of the wood, it wouldn't work very nice, but that isn't to say that you couldn't use it that way. Um, you could just fill in this little block and have this as like a ready-made little tray kind of thing. Um, Same way with this one, that could work as a little tray and then fill in the plants in here and just pretend that that part is dirt. Uh, I don't think this one will work that well because there's a lot of gaps. You can almost see the gaps where they think that would work a little funny. Same way with the decking pieces. I don't think those will work really good. It's not to say you can't get away with it. It's just that I don't think it's as easy as using something that's a little more solid. Excuse me. So this is the tan small tan sack. Again, it really depends on the uses. See, this one and maybe that one and like this one possibly would work good in round type of pots. But we have like a ton of options for squares and rectangles for sure. If you're gonna have, little flower beds. But look how lovely that texture is. I just noticed this the other day when I was using it to cover up some of my paintings that I don't want everybody seeing just yet. And I thought the textures were really nice. Almost a little shiny in spots and then kind of dingy in others. And I don't know, I just like that it's broken up a little different. Because, this is okay, but it almost looks like too perfect. And, grounded stuff isn't going to be perfect like that. You want some texture to it. Uh, that's why some of these bits are a little bit more interesting than say, that one or that one. I like the edge of this, but this part, I wish it had more of this. It's just this might look a little bit more sandy, sort of, kind of. Is twitching octobush a drop? I'm not sure. That's something from the chat. Hold on. Let me look that up for them. I don't know of twitching octobush. Isn't that from the vendor? Just sworn. Or maybe it's a different one. Let me look up twitching. Yeah, it is a different one. Seems to be just a regular old drop. Okay, anyway. So yeah, that's, when you're thinking about, doing the flower beds and everything, like the windows that come that way. We've got this one that's already got a flower bed. If you have a way of, maybe you don't want the window, but you want the flower bed, you know, just kind of work with it to find a good spot to show that. Wow, it went in upside down, didn't it? That's weird. So like, you don't want the window showing, you can just push it in if you have the opportunity. I mean, it just happens that there's a wall here and I'm able to push it in, but maybe you can't, or it just doesn't work that way. But if you can, then you can get away with, having a little flower pot ready made for you. That's really good inside, like not custom, pre-made homes that you just want the thing showing rather than the window. There's also the oh, what's the one? It's the keyhole window. No, dark keyhole, I think. Let me go into the shopper here. Yeah, this one here. And this one has like a basket. And the only thing is you probably will have difficulty hiding this part. Uh, but if you can do it, then, that might work for you. Or maybe that would work as, like you don't want the window part itself, but you want the little eave or whatever it's called, and then the little basket of flowers. Um, there's one that's empty as well. Here's a different version of the other one. It's the same, looks to be the same little pot that's on the basic window, but I think you craft these, I'm not sure. But it probably really depends on where you use it. Maybe if the ceiling and the wall is not too big a distance, you can get away with having this hidden up in the ceiling and just having the shelf little basket showing. That's one way. We don't have a lot of open containers. And we have a lot of crates and things, but not all of them are open. If they are open, they have junk sticking out of them, so it makes it a little tough to make just empty boxes. You can craft a box, but I don't know. Sometimes it's a strain to do all of it custom because that uses up your resources when you have a limit and everything. So yeah, I think I will probably really want to do this all up in lots and lots of flowers. So I'm trying to decide which one do I like better, this big bulky broken thing or this little doohickey. I think I like the big and bulky myself. I think it would be more me. This one's nice, but it's a little too prim and proper. No, I don't want to destroy it. I gotta say, I appreciate that you guys have not been uh, chatting on about the recent announcement. I think I was grateful for the distraction of getting all of those homes onto this new site. It's kept me from really checking out what was going on the forums and on Twitter and everything, and I think I happily avoided all of that mess. For me, I'm just going to, for my part, I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic. I know there's supposed to be an announcement from Pappy this week, hopefully sooner than later. But I just don't want to go full on panic mode just yet. I want to wait it out, see how it goes. Because I don't see the point in going nuts right now anyway. It doesn't mean that I'm any less uh, patient, uh, or not patient, but I'm any less passionate, I guess, about the game. It doesn't mean that. I am pretty passionate. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here practically every day. But I don't see the point in getting all I think it would just lead to giving me ulcers, and I've got enough wrong with me. I don't need other junk making me that much more messed up. So that would be why I really haven't been tweeting a lot of, the stuff. I've, retweeted a couple of things, and I liked a few statements that folks had that shared similar sentiment, but I've mostly just kind of avoided it all because, yeah, that's the way I feel, Maddie. And I know that's not going to work for everybody. I know, for example, a lot of my guildies are, you know, all about rating, and even though we're a casual guild, that's still a big thing for them. And if that doesn't pan out to their expectations, they're one of the first ones to go, I'm gonna leave, and this is it, and all that kind of stuff. But if that makes me casual, then I consider myself casual anyway, even though I'm here all the time. It's just, I don't know. Do you really lead the raid guild? I don't know. Raiding, I used to raid pretty heavily in World of Warcraft, and uh, I think it was the first time that I had actually downed like the main boss while it was still pertinent. I mean, you know how you can have like a raid come in, and maybe it's been out for years, and then your guild finally gets in there, and we go, ooh, we downed the boss. And the ones that did it like when it first come out, they're like, that it doesn't really count because we weren't like world first or something. And I'm not saying we were a world first, but the content was still pretty new-ish, and I was pretty proud that I was part of that. But it was extremely stressful, and I promised myself that I wouldn't get into that when it came to WildStar. I specifically put that as a rule for myself. I mean, it's not like I signed a pact with blood or anything, but I told myself I didn't want to get that heavily into it. And it's not that I'm not spending hours and hours in the game. That's not what I meant. I just didn't want the stress of the raiding scene. Because I literally, would feel physically ill sometimes because I was so worried about, am I performing it high enough? Always constantly working on upgrading my gear and making it sure everything was, the top. And I don't know, I just didn't want to do that. And while I have done some raiding in WildStar, it's been strictly on a just for fun basis. And I think in the beginning that was okay for most of the guildies, um, because at the time, they were struggling for members for the team and everything. But as it became more and more about progression, my kind of laid back attitude wasn't quite so welcome. It's not that they didn't want me to raid with them, it's just they really wanted people to push themselves, and that's where I kind of said, I'm kind of done with that. So I haven't raided in uh, a month or two, I think. In fact, I think my guild just downed System Daemons. What is that? Is that the first boss of Datascape or something? Um, they did that last week, I think. I think that's the first major boss that they downed that I wasn't a part of. But it's been a long time coming because, since we are a casual guild, we just don't have that, complete mindset of, raid, 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 raid. They've had to kind of work at it. And I'm real proud of them. It's just, it's not for me. It's too stressful for me. I have enough stress worrying about, getting to my Twitch stream on time. I don't need the added pains of knowing that I caused a wipe or something. It's just awful. Okay, I think I like that. I like that it's more purples. I could add some kind of white stuff in there to kind of bring up the yellow bit to repeat that as well. I don't know, but I like the laid back, the purple. Really going for that. Themes, purples and blues. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out something whitish, I think. Kind of repeat that. But see how nicely and quickly that just kind of fit and work together. That's the fun bit. Now I'll probably go in and add some more of the purple, the violet um, flowers later, but I'm just gonna finish setting down. Yeah, with the World of Warcraft, for the guild I was in, once they completed that big, you know, end game goal, getting the final boss down, after that it was like they were off to shinier pastures anyway, because it was done. It was like been there, done that. They don't want to do it anymore. And that kind of left me by myself. Kind of the going trend. So maybe it's just me. Like, oh no, she's here. We're out of here. Let's go. And what was funny was it was a Polish guild, and I became guild leader of it for a time, which was really weird. But it was because I was the only one that stayed in the game. I think most of them ended up going to was it Star Wars: The Old Republic. In fact, I think the majority of them are still there raiding in that game. And they asked me to come along, but I was like, I don't mind Space Cowboys, but you know the whole Star Wars thing. I never was really a major fan on that, so oops. Not that I don't like the movies and that it's not a good series, you know, trilogy or quadrilogy, whatever it is. But I don't know. It never interests me to play a Jedi or Sith or whatever else they're called. If I was going to play a character, I'd have to play a Yoda or something. They're short, and I always play the short characters. Now my husband, he still plays WoW pretty regularly, but I think it's mostly just to collect mounts. He's been working on the garrison quests or something, and he does the pet battles. He likes that a lot. He can spend hours doing that. I get so bored with that at like a couple of fights and I'm done. Yeah, and that's unfortunate, Maddie, because you know, while for a lot of them it's just the accomplishment of the kill, for others it's the gear, and for others it's they want that excitement over and over again, especially if they had just barely got the big boss down by the skin of their teeth. They want to improve their skill, and because that in theory better prepares them for the next one. But I don't know, it's kind of the issue with raiding guilds. You'll have those that uh, go through all the dungeons, because in the beginning when we first started, it was like everybody was doing dungeon to get all the gear that they needed to get ready for raiding. Once the majority had all of the gear that they needed, dungeons were kind of a bygone kind of thing. So anybody new that came along that needed that dungeon stuff, they had more trouble getting those dungeon runs. And it's the same with the raiding. As you have different tiers of raiding, that first bit, like GA, we used to go there every week, And I think now they've got it where it's like every other week that they kind of concentrate on that. And that makes it harder for those trying to catch up, I think. Because, then there's like the whole loot system over as far as what system you go with. You know, there's always going to be those that think any particular system is unfair. Do you give it to those that have been raiding the longest? Do you give it to those that need the upgrade the most? That kind of thing. I don't know. See, that's part of the stress. It's not just the mechanics of the fight, but also, who gets what when the boss goes down. Uh, if you're a raid leader, Maddie, I feel sorry for you. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, boy, I log into WoW when there's like a little like I think the last one I kind of participated in was the what was it? The Love is in the Air, the Valentine's event, especially because we didn't have one for WildStar. Uh, I went in for that a little bit because I still have yet to get the love rocket, and who doesn't want a big pink rocket. So I did a little bit of that, but I don't know. I think more I stick with it because I've spent so many years collecting pets and mounts and achievements there that I just don't want to, uninstall it. But I'm just not active there. It doesn't hold my attention or capture my imagination anymore. It's not to say that I won't ever play it. I do go back from time to time, and if we have another like I think we've got the Legion update coming sometime. Once that hits, I will probably be doing that because I just want to see how it looks and everything. But uh, as long as WildStar's around, this one's going to be where I'm at because that's where my heart's going to be because I like the creativity that it allows me to express just goofing around with stuff. I can spend days just doodling on a plot and really not getting anything done, but I still find it fun. Okay, so that's those pretty much made. Let me take a look at it from over here. Yeah, that looks a little better like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some little tray things here. Now, what I could do is just make this a set and then bring it over and then extend it however I need to, which I probably should do that. Let me just pop this out here. Find an empty spot. Lucky 13. There we go. Well, it's funny that you say that, Maddie, because that's exactly how ours is. Our guild leader is our raid leader. Now, he has kind of, from time to time, turned the reins over to our main tank, I think is what his job was. Like I said, I've been out of the raiding scene for a couple months, so it might have changed by now, but I think last he was working on kind of getting the main tank kind of used to kind of cluing people in, doing the little, reminders on TeamSpeak and all that kind of stuff. But it's primarily been our guild leader that's been running the raids. He does have assistants. So we have a different guild member that handles the spreadsheet where they talk about tactics and positions, and they have like little maps and things where people can see where they're supposed to stand and things like that. But um, yeah, it's primarily been on his shoulders alone. not alone, but I mean the majority of it. He's the one that finalizes like the loot, how it's going to go. He kind of discusses it with us and looks, for folks to make suggestions and give ideas, but the final decision is his. And in fact, he's the one that handles all of our recruiting and all of that stuff. Uh, so, because we don't have officers, which is probably not the norm. We have what we call facilitators, which is not really officer. I think the closest thing we have to officer, you know, jobs is that we can invite people into the guild, but we're only allowed to invite alts. We don't invite other people, new ones. It always has to be an alt. So it's just the convenience that we provide as far as that goes. But yeah, we don't have officers in our guild. So we have facilitators. We have those that facilitate activities. So we have one for, say, role play, um, and it's not that they're forced to make events for role playing, but they have a tendency to do so. And by becoming a facilitator, which is completely voluntary, then you have the backing, the official backing of the guild, meaning you can use funds from the guild bank if you arrange that, or materials from the guild bank as prizes or things like that. But yeah, we don't have any kind of like higher powers. We're on the same level as a general member as far as equality goes. There's the guild leader, and then there's members, guild leader members, and some of the members happen to be facilitators that, if you're wanting to get into PvP or help organize a PvP event, then you would go to the PvP facilitator, that kind of thing. And that's what I am. I'm a general facilitator. I do the goofy stuff. I don't have any particular area of expertise. I just say, we're going to have a trivia night tonight, and that's that. Yeah, that's kind of how I do point. Like when they had the double XP weekend, that was a real good time for alts. I think I got 3 or 4 um, raised up for that, but it was mostly because, whoops, clicked the wrong button. Uh, Most because I know eventually I'm going to want more plots to build on, so I took that opportunity to do that. So that is one event that I really enjoyed, the double XP weekend. The PvP stuff, I think it's great for those that enjoy that particular aspect of the game, but for me, that's not really my interest. Now, I have engaged in PvP, like with the guild. Usually it's, I'm trying to show support for, I'm trying to decide, do I want that just long, or I guess I'll just extend it out. Anyway, it's like I've participated in some of the role playing stuff, but I am like the most awful role player because I take too long to respond, because everybody's so fast and quick-witted, and they type, zip, 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 and they're just having these awesome conversations, and I'm like, what? I have trouble following it. And then when I, you know, think, oh, I might can respond here, then I think, well, do I need an emote here? Would that work? And then by the time I work it out, then they've moved on to, conversation number 50 or something. And so I don't know. I occasionally, you know, step in, but I don't do any of the like heavy storylines and all that kind of stuff because I'm just not good at it at all. I've hosted a role playing event before. I did like a little adventure thing where we called it the WildStar Roundup, and we went into I guess it was Celestion and supposedly lassoed up some escaped WildStars there, and then we escorted them to, I guess it was Galeris, to Nibbin Ranch or whatever it's called, and had a few people just role play that all out. You know, we did like a slash roll system as to whether or not they were successful in lassoing the WildStars, and you know, we emoted, you know, uh, if we failed, then we emoted how we failed. You know, maybe we got caught in the rope, or we roped some other animal, or you know, it's just goofy stuff. That's like the closest I can get to some kind of role play stuff. When it gets into like my own character and the story developing around her, I have no clue. I don't mess with that. Okay, so this one I think I'm going to try and extend a bit. Now I see that the dirt is actually a little higher. I may have to adjust that a bit, but I'm going to ignore it for now. We'll just leave it. So I'm probably going to need, let's see, trying to decide how many dirt bits I want to put out there. This is going to be tricky because I'm going to have to be, you know, watching where this bit is showing as well. I'm going to extend this out. Let's move this according to the world. So that's flat-ish. It's just like the house builds I do. I don't necessarily go and build it in accordance to somebody's going to use this for role play. If they happen to, fantastic. I'm not going to say, hey, you can't do that, you know, that kind of thing. But I don't specifically have that in mind. Wow, this is going to be tough, isn't it? The the birds are really making a lot of noise outside. I think it's the one my husband calls us the biscuit, sisqui, something like that. I think I call it the biscuit, and that's not really the name of it, and I just call it that. But it makes a little sound that sounds like that biscuit. He's really noisy. Okay, so I kind of like that. So let's link the rest of this. I think it was that one, yeah. Okay, I think that's all of that. All right. So before I copied this big one, I'm going to go ahead and do another one of these. Oh, did I already do that? Never mind. I'm so doofy. Completely forgot. Let me just send all that to Crate then. Thought I hadn't done it. See, it's early today and I'm already messed up in my head. Okay, so I'm going to just clear this one and add the link set, and then Drag that over. Something like that. It's not going to be perfect, but that's kind of me, so it suits. That I would get it all messed up anyway. That's probably why I like the little desert town that we visited not long ago that had all the like the plywood like hanging off the window and stuff, because that's me. My projects are always kind of lopsided. You know, it's like you taking a clay class or whatever and trying to make that pot, you know, make the ashtray for your mom or something, and it comes out like a little lumpy, got fingerprints all in it and stuff. That's mine. Those are mine, because I'm really awful at that stuff. Okay, so another quickie way of setting up a kind of a fast flower bed is, and it's expensive, so you know, don't go this way if you're, you know, pinched for money. But it is one method of, whoops, not that one. Let's see, the other one. What is it? Arrangement, there we go. So that one's not as expensive, that's good. Is to use the prearranged little flowers and just hide the vase nicely. That see, for the, if I had gone with the rain gutter version, I don't think we would have been able to get away with this one as easily, because these boxes, the crates, really lend themselves to hiding the part you don't want showing. And then we're just going to turn it a bit. So like 4 little plants, and there you go. You got this little fancy flower bed. And I think what I'll probably do is add some of these in this little round too, and that'll be the white that I need to kind of tie that all in. I think that'll work nicely. Now, I don't have to use these all the way around. I could just use them on the sides and then something different in the front. But quick and easy way of filling in a flower bed. So let's see. Yeah, we might want to do this. I don't want to just make a continual line. I just want to kind of spot them in. And this might actually work if I make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, I think that'll work nicely. Get a good position. Notice there are a few bits kind of sticking in the stone. You can twirl it around till it's not doing that. Pull it out a little further if you want. I think that'll work. See, that's, it just kind of helps make that pop a little bit. And we're just going to put it intermittently, not all the way across. So like here feels like a good place. Oops, copied the wrong thing. Sounds like someone's car is about to die. Guess it's a tractor being run or something, but sounds awful. There's one. And see, it even has some of that purple stuff in it too, so that helps. Again, it's tying it together. One more, I think. There we go. See, not too much, but just a little bit of extra. And then we'll do the same on this side. This is starting to remind me of my aunt's house and my mother-in-law's house, because they love their plants. And I've mentioned before, I'm not really good with plants in real life. Most of mine are either mutant plants and survive regardless of my negligence, or they have died. I think amazingly, the only ones that really survive heartily is the orchids, and I think it's called a begonia. I'm not even sure if that's really the name. It's like a miniature begonia or something. I think that's what it's called. But like I've killed succulent plants like cactuses and stuff. I've killed ferns, and the latest one was the poinsettia that I got for Christmas. That one's long gone. It was like it was sad too because I got gifted it, and like the very next day, all the bloom leaves, the little petals just fell off. It's like I didn't even have a chance to, neglect it for a while. It was already it's like, oh, they put me here. Well, I'm just gonna give up the ghost right away. I was like, what? And it's not that I didn't give it water or anything, you know, but I maybe don't give it enough or too much or not, not frequently as it should. I don't know. It's just I'm horrible with plants. So this is my way of, kind of pretending that I'm, this excellent gardener. I have all this pretty foliage and flowers and things, and in real life it is not the case. Well, it could be. That's how it is. Because used to I would kind of remember, every Wednesday, and then I don't know, things started coming up, and I'd forget and go, oh, well, I gotta do that, and then I know there's been a couple of instances where I thought I hadn't watered them, and then I watered them again, and that probably, drowned them a little bit, but um, yeah, the ones that I get, they like some of the roots, like just I don't know, they defy gravity. They're like sticking up, and they look all alien-like and everything. But yeah, they seem to thrive here. I think it's more to do with the lighting that we have in the house than it had anything to do with me because, um, but yeah, my mother-in-law is convinced that I do something special with them, that I give them some kind of special food, like Miracle Grow or something, and I don't even know if we have any of that around the house. But and if we did, I wouldn't remember to use it because I do all to remember to give them a little bit of water once in a while. But yeah, she'll have an orchid that hasn't bloomed in years. She'll, rather than throw it away, she gives it to me because I'm like the last resort. Well, they're gonna die anyway, so might as well give it to her, and they end up blooming for me. I don't know why. They do, and it usually takes. I can have them. I think the shortest I've had one is like maybe a week when she gave it to me, and then a week later it was blooming. And she's like, "What are you doing to it?" And I was like, "Nothing. I like mistreat these plants so badly." And they go, maybe they're like saying, "I'll bloom for you if you give me more stuff" or something. I don't know. But yeah, I do have good fortune with the orchids. Granted, I think they're the type of orchid that's like the easiest to handle. I know there's some really temperamental ones, um, And then I've got one plant that my son gave me for a Mother's Day, like I would say it has to be uh, like 12 years ago, somewhere around that. And I still have that plant. That is like my oldest plant. And that thing, it looks awful. Sometimes it'll like turn all brown, and I think, okay, this is the end of it. And then it'll suddenly go all green again. And that's the one that I think is called a begonia. It's a little miniature. But the thing is so delicate, you can look at it and the leaves fall off. It's so tricky to mess with it. You know, you don't want to touch it. You can't put the water on the leaves. You have to put it in the dirt, you know, in the bottom of the tray or whatever, so that it, you know, drinks whatever it needs. Because if you touch it, they just fall off. They're very brittle or something. I don't know what it is, but that thing's been with me for like, yeah, it's like 12 years or so, 12 or 13, somewhere around there. And I've even taken clippings off of it, and there's a baby here, and I gave one to my mother-in-law, and she's got a few sprouted off of that. So I don't know. It's crazy what plants work and what don't. But I always tell her if she's going to get me a plant, make sure it's hardy, because if it can't take my abuse, it doesn't need to be here. Okay, so that's some examples of quick ways to make a flower bed. We did go over some of the dirt ideas and things like that. But you know, it's one of those things, experiment. You know, whenever a new item comes out, the best thing to do is to take that item, place it on your plot, size it up, turn it around, flip it over, look at it from all angles, because you never know what weird textures you might find, colors that you might find, and you think of, you know, nifty ways to use it. Um, so I think beyond the flowers, and we'll probably finish up the little plants, what I could do is, even though these actually come with a tray of their own, I like the rusticness of my trays. I'm going to do this and shrink this down. See how far I had to shrink that down just to get that so that the edge wasn't showing. This one's going to be a little bit different. And that, see how well the dirt kind of almost blends in with the dirt that's already there. That's why so many people love the dragon walls, is exactly for that reason. But I'm going to go ahead and sink these down so that the mound of dirt doesn't show too much. Don't want it to draw too much attention. And then I'm going to add some different plants in the front and on the sides there. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly link these three together. I can just quickly fill this in. And then I'm going to do the same, these plants. clear. Over. This just shows how lovely the little set tools and stuff are. How quickly you can build something. You know, if you got a lot of repeating stuff, like the plants or walls or whatever it might be, it's a really fast way of getting that out there without spending too much time. I mean, before we used to do it item by item by item for everything, and that can be pretty rough. Now, obviously, I'm not going to leave this here because that's sticking up and it just looks wrong, but it's an idea. Just an example. So let's see, what other, I think I'm going to go ahead and, where are those things? I think we'll bring those over here instead. Now I've been thinking about, do I want to add any kind of lighting to this plot? I really don't have anything other than the lamps that are over there by the little party tent. If I do, I have no idea which ones and how much. I know that's something that bugged me when I was going through that 300 something houses this weekend, how everybody loves the dark skies, the nighttime skies, the what is it, the Northern Lights one? Is that one a dark one? I don't know if it's dark or not, but it was really hard to take screenshots. Even now with the sun being out, you know, the time frame and everything being as it is, it's dark right here at the porch. So I'm wondering, should I add some kind of lighting? Should it be visible lighting or lighting that is there but is just tucked into some rock or something? And I don't know. I'm gonna have to decide because I don't want. Well, it's going to be tough on those looking for the eggs anyway, because if they come when the plot is in dark mode, when it's nighttime, you know, they may find it troublesome to find stuff anyway. That might play into my favor as far as making it tougher on them, but I don't want them to be completely discouraged either. Okay, there's some pretty flowers. Purple and white and blue and green stuff. Very gardeny. I like it. Okay, so again, I don't know what else I'm going to add, if anything major. I'm still open to other ideas. If any of you have some suggestions of other bits. The only thing really major left, I think, is filling up this forest in the back. You know, I had thought about, you know, adding some grass and stuff to these little faux mountain kind of things, kind of like what was it? Was it Dedla? Dedla that did it with where she had the WildStars munching on the grass on the hills and stuff. But like I said, when I tried to put the grasses on there, the colors didn't fit right. Because I think they had a different ground than I do. I've got the Celestion, and that's really vibrant green, and none of the grasses, little grass patches, really matches that good that I could, you know, that I liked. So I think I'll just leave them bare. Now, if they end up bringing in that spring decor that we saw, what was the car? Like flowers? Flowers. Yeah, if they bring this stuff, these little clumps, I will see if that's a bright enough green. I can't really tell if that's just one of the grasses that we already have and they've just added flowers on top of it. But I may end up, maybe coating one or two of these little hills in some of these patches. That's if they come out soon enough. But since the event is this weekend, I have my doubts that it will happen that fast. So I don't know. But see, once we get like, see, once you get like these would be another quick way of kind of making a flower garden. If you don't mind the grass, pretending like there's some weeds and stuff. But uh, it would be something. See, just like these, having these flowering vines would have been awesome for the little trellis here rather than using the pre-made trellises. I could have designed something my own, but for what it is, it worked out nicely enough, I think, having this little arch here. It just shows that you don't have to have all these fancy little prefabbed vine thingies. You can build something with what you've got. But yeah, I think we will call it good there. I know it's a short stream today, guys, but I do have some other stuff I'd like to take care of. And I don't want to keep getting distracted with the housing because I'm telling you, I spent my entire weekend was just visiting houses and I didn't get anything done that I probably should have. Um, in fact, hubby picked up a lot of my slack as far as the dishes and stuff like that because I was up here screenshot, 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 submit, submit, submit. And he was like, "Are you still doing that?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got like, 100 and something to go." And then like an hour later, 90 to go. He was like telling me I was nuts, but I was, really wanting to get that in there. And I'm just glad it's done. So no more of that, hopefully. But yeah, I will think about some other things that we might want to add. Yeah, I really hope so too, Maddie. It's just I think it's there and it's coming. I just think it's a matter of when. If they're really planning on having it coincide with anything springy, I guess the next month or two, maybe. I don't know. I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing what Pappy says, um, and how things are going to go. It's like this week is also supposed to be. Um, I was planning on posting my 50th anniversary announcement probably this coming weekend, but you know I may wait until we hear something further. It's not that I'm not trying to remain optimistic, but I think it would be kind of prudent to know what's going on first before we settle into that. Because if I post it, then it's still got a month to go anyway, and it would just be nice to kind of know what's going on or what the plan is before I make any commitment to that kind of thing. Now, I still want to do it, and I think it would be fun for everybody, but it's like the Easter egg hunt that's still ongoing. I have no plans of canceling that, but I'm not really looking into solidifying any future plans just yet until I know a little bit more about where we're headed and how confident I feel after, the thing. I'm more or less business as usual, but you don't want to make this big announcement. Oh, we're doing the 50th, and then find out, that their plan is actually to close it off before we even get to that point. So that would be kind of silly. So I'm gonna wait till we hear from Pappy, which hopefully is today. Of course, it'll be later for us since the hour difference, but I'm hoping they don't make it. I think aside from what was announced and everything, I think the timing was bad. I've never agreed with them making significant life-changing kind of announcements like that on Friday and then just leaving the community to kind of fumble around for the weekend. I think that's bad, just generally bad to do. Uh, and, you know, that's not to say that they didn't like say, hey, we know this is bad news and everything, but so many don't even want to take the little we're committed to the game. They don't even want to take that as at face value. They want to nitpick at it and pick and poke, and it's not only how they say it, but who said it. I don't want to get into the whole who said it and that means it's false kind of thing, but clearly a good majority of the community are distrusting of the messenger, even if they didn't write up the post themselves. The person that was chosen to deliver it, I guess, in hindsight, might have been a bad choice because people are just not accepting what they said for what they're kind of giving their own flip on how they interpret it. And so some are saying, they've kind of left us hanging, but really they didn't. They said something. It's just people are not accepting what they said, if that makes sense. So I think if Pappy had done the announcement that he's going to do this week, had he done that last week, immediately following this big hoo-ha, I think that would have been better than to let people speculate and worry and fret and panic and throw up their hands and things like that over the weekend, and that will continue to do so. Uh, I think it would have been better if the timing had been different. But again, I am remaining cautiously optimistic. I don't want to be one of those that's spouting off inaccurate information or just randomly pulling out thoughts and ideas and where I think things are going, just out my rear or whatever. I want to just wait and see how it goes. Not that I'm blindly just kind of, tossing my money away, but to me, even if they were to say that the game was going to end next week or something, I wouldn't regret all of the money that I've put in. Yes, it's a time investment. Yes, it's a money investment, but I have enjoyed many, 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 many hours doing this stuff. And I know a lot of people go, well, the subscription is so, high and it's not worth it. To me, I disagree with that because I know going to a movie for one night can cost, quite a lot. At least where I live is pretty expensive. And here, for just about the same amount, I can have, a full month of entertainment. And so I don't regret, you know, putting in my monies towards whatever. Um, Even if it falls apart, uh, I've had fun, and I continue to have fun. So as long as I'm having fun, I'm gonna play. That's whether the game is gonna be here 10 years or 10 minutes. You know. So whatever comes, I'm still going to be here until they actually, physically pull the plug. And, I know people have been talking about trying to open up private servers or whatever. I have no idea what that is, but if it allows me to continue housing, I will definitely try to get in on that if it comes to it. But yeah, when it comes right down to it, it's just a game, and it's just your time. Yeah, I know people go, well, I've spent all, and now it's all going to be gone. Well, that happens. It's just one of those things. You either learn to deal with it. If that means that they never touch another game by this company, so be it. But for my part, I'm here. I'm enjoying myself. I'm going to keep doing the streaming, keep doing the housing, and enjoying, helping others to try and enjoy it. And never know, we might see things turn around, and then we'll be all the happier that we didn't abandon ship at the first sign of, or at the second sign, or at the third sign of trouble on the horizon. But yeah, I'm one of those. I'm kind of. It's not that I'm a diehard fan. You know, I'm a big fan, and I'm pretty passionate about it. But I just I don't want to make myself sick over things. You know, I've been reading about people crying and I mean getting super emotional about it, and you know it's sad, and I feel for those that you know were laid off and everything, and you know I'm worried and uh, confused and disappointed and lots of other emotions, but I don't know. I don't see the point in going berserko about it or, you know, letting it get to you to that extent because it's not going to change things. Whatever's coming is coming, you know. It's out of our hands, more or less. I mean, if they haven't paid attention by the numbers that we are or that we are dwindling down to, if over this last year or two hasn't affected them, and that it's not going to change anything now. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You either accept what's coming and you deal with it your own way, or you have a breakdown, and I don't want to have a breakdown. So, yeah, it'll be fun. We'll continue to have fun until it goes, and hopefully till it goes is many years down the road. Because you know, I know there's games out there that don't have that super big, you know, millions of players. They have this little tiny little community, and they're still going. You know, even I know people were talking about it going into the maintenance mode or something, and that means you know it's just bleh, there's nothing coming, and I'd be okay. And I'm sure there's, you know, there might not be a whole bunch of us, but I'm sure there's going to be others that are just like me that would be fine and dandy if nothing new ever got added. We could still create so much with it. I don't think it would become that. I think they would still add things, but you know, it might be months and months and months in between. But anyway, yeah, that's my little. I don't know. I don't think it's a rant. It's just, and it's not really a pep talk either, because it's not very uplifting. I'm just saying, you know, I don't see the point in all the the panic and the distress. Just take a breather. And you know, if you need to, just step away. You know, go to a different game or just read a book or something. If it's that stressful to you that you're becoming, you know, you're actually physically crying and feeling ill and you know, you feel like your heart's breaking and stuff, that's a sign you need to step away for a little bit. You need to separate yourself from that because that's too much, I think. But that's my opinion. I don't want something to get that. It's not that it's not meaningful. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a not a Klingon, like a Borg or something. I don't have the feelings. I do, but I don't want them to take over. Because like I said, it's out of our hands and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, um, that is that for today. I hope those that have been trying to come up with ways to make little gardens or something have come up with a little bit of you know ideas. I will say that you don't have to just use flowers, the standard flowers or the plants or whatever. Trees and stuff shrunk down make great bushes, and you could add flowers to those to give them, you know, I could have added, you know, little white blooms to these bushes here. Um, but a lot of the trees, if you shrink them down, they make some nice, especially like the like pink and purple mangroves. Those are really nice. Um, some of the other stuff, like I think some of the cactuses have some pretty yellow flowers on them. Those might work. You know, it just depends on how you're using them and where. Um, so don't feel like you have to stick with just flowers. The main reason I stuck with those here is mostly to show how quickly you can build a flower bed with just a few pieces and not have to, put them all individually in. This is just a couple bits and just repeated it all the way around. It makes it look nice and full, but it's a really quick way of doing it. But yeah, thanks guys for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Tomorrow we should be here. I don't foresee any kind of issues. I will say that Wednesday we are planning to do the Exile house tours. I think it's Exile turn. Gosh, I say that and I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's Exiles. But I may be a little late because tomorrow night is what we call Lentaface. It's like a spring party, and I usually am not allowed out of there until almost midnight. So I may be kind of zombified when we come in Wednesday morning, but I'm gonna try and be alert enough. As usual, my window of streaming is between 8 and 11 a.m. in the morning, so it may be getting closer to the 11 mark because I'm not going to push myself to get up at the crack of dawn because I really have serious doubts I'll be up for it that early. But just fair warning on that. So if I'm not here at like 8, 9, it's probably why I'm still waking up. But we are going to be here. I've got a surplus of homes on Exile side that I've got ready that I want to tour. So I'm going to have to pick a few and save the rest for the next time. Now on Dominion's side, I will say that I am coming up a little short on having enough homes. I've been aiming for about 5 a week, so I'm struggling there. I think, was it you, Maddie, that suggested, what was it, Sabina's place? I tried to visit there this morning and I got the player does not exist. So if it was you or someone else here that suggested that one on Dominion side, let me know what that name is again, just to make sure I didn't spell it wrong. And I'll check it out. But if you know of any other nice plots on Dominion side that I have yet to tour, I'd be appreciative in hearing that. Yeah, Maddie, I feel the same way on that. I I feel cold in saying that, and agreeing with it, but it's really how I feel. When I was hearing people talking about them crying and stuff, and I was like, what? And that probably sounds so mean, but it's not that I'm not affected by it. I'm, feeling pretty bad, but I don't know. It's like, I guess it's like the same as having groupies for a band or something, and have something happen to the band member and then the groupie just going, berserko. I've never been like that with anything. And I don't know, maybe it's just we just have that, we don't have that gene or something, the heavy emotional gene or whatever. Um, was it Torex? Yeah. Okay, I think I might have, my writing is like chicken scratch. I think I put Torek instead of Torex. So that's the X on the end. Okay. That's probably what it was then. See, I'm glad I checked because I probably would have been typing the wrong name. However. Okay, well, even if it's in the works, at least I have it on my radar. But I'll check that. Torex. I think I had it Torek. Silly me. Yeah, my handwriting is awful. Um, in fact, I don't even cursive write anymore because I can't even read it when I write cursive. I print everything in all caps, so there's no mistake most of the time. If I get really fast, which I apparently was really fast with that one, I sometimes miss a letter here and there. But yeah, my husband or even I sometimes joke I should have been a doctor because I can't read what I write. It's awful. But I don't know. I think my brain is going faster than my hand can keep up. And if I'm writing something, half the time I leave out whole words because my thought process has done moved on. Sure, Maddie, I won't be streaming it. Yeah, there's a couple of plots that I've got on my radar that aren't quite done, um, but getting close. Some of them I check, some of them I don't. If I know the person, if I've talked with them, like soccer or you guys, I will ask ahead of time. But for others that I just stumble upon, it's like it's public. I'm gonna show it. I'm rude like that. That's called the rude neighbor. But yeah. So yeah, Exiles this Wednesday. Tomorrow we should be back. We'll work on the forest and a few other things. I don't know what I'm going to come up with. If nothing else, we'll just do an impromptu painting. That's always something fun. So, and we'll do that for the rest of the week as well. And of course, remember that this weekend is the Easter egg hunt weekend. The plot will be going, this plot here will be going private probably Friday. Friday, yeah, Friday. I'll probably spend most of Friday planting the eggs around, hiding them. And then come Saturday morning, I'll open it back up. And you guys are welcome to come and try and find the eggs yourself. My guildmates will be doing so all weekend, Saturday and Sunday both. So just if you find them, don't tweet or post it or tell anybody where you found them. Just kind of keep it to yourself because I'm trying to keep it, as fun and challenging for them. I've asked them to do the same, so I'd appreciate it if you do that as well. Um, yeah, boy, a lot of people do that. And there's nothing wrong with it. I find it funny that someone will go, oh, well, can I look at your house? And they go to look at the person that's asking, and they go, well, yours is private. It's like, well, I'm building on it. And it's like, well, some people like to build in private. I used to do that all the time myself, and sometimes I still do that. Um, I think it's the following weekend. I wanted to host the event. I don't like hosting events like that on the day of the actual holiday because people might want to, be going to visit family or something else. So I usually do like even the Christmas stuff that we did, the Winterfest, is a weekend or so off because that way more people have an opportunity of participating. They're not off visiting family or hosting an event at their own house, like dinner or something like that. So I think it's actually the weekend after. I'm not for sure. Don't quote me on that because I'm really horrible at remembering dates. But um, I think I purposely set this one a little bit ahead. That way they don't feel like they have to choose between the two if they've got something of their own going on. But yeah, it'll be Saturday and Sunday. Now, I won't be um, posting the locations anywhere publicly, but if you guys feel like you want to go around and have me, like if you have problems finding some, I'll be happy to go around and show you all the hiding spots later, if that's something you guys want. But but yeah, it's just gonna be Easter stuff, and I'm already thinking about what we might want to do for the next. I don't think there's a really big summer holiday coming up. I know there's like, well, I don't know. Is there any big holidays between now and Halloween? What is there? I know there's supposed to be like St. Patrick's Day. That's this month somewhere, or it might have already passed. I really don't know. Uh, I know there's 4th of July for the States, but I'm not really patriotic. So that doesn't really work for me. I mean, maybe I could come up with some stuff for those that want that kind of thing, but um, I'll have to think of some stuff. Maybe we'll start doing our own little housing decor challenges. Just me working on something. Or maybe I'll start giving you guys a challenge. Say, set up a plot just for those, and we'll have some fun decorating some stuff, and then I'll come and show. You guys can build along while we talk. Father's Day